Hey, Xiomy here. So today I wanted to film my February wrap-up. Now, I really didn't read that many good books in the month of February, but I did hear a lot more audiobooks just because I was very mentally exhausted and I just really wanted a break. But let's get into this list. The first books that I'm going to mention are physical books, and the first book that I'm going to talk about, unfortunately, was a DNF, and that one is A Nevernight by J. Kristoff. Now, I do love poetry. I enjoy it so much, but when you have an overuse of simile, metaphor, it's just something that gets overly exhausting to read about so many times, like over and over again, like it was one sentence next to the other. And I also noticed that my mindset really wasn't determined to pay attention to this book. I DNF'd it at page 30, but I am going to pick it up during the summertime because I think that's like the perfect time for me to actually like sit down and give it the dedication that actually goes with this book, because there's so many things that's going on in the beginning. It's basically, I really did get lost in the beginning. I was having difficulty like connecting with everything that was happening, because you do have words in italic, you have regular words, and you have footnotes. And after like the 10th page, it was actually when I was like, oh, okay, I understand what's going on. But again, I really didn't enjoy the writing style, but I am gonna give it a second chance, and hopefully I'll enjoy the book in that time. The next physical book that I picked up was Tales of the Shadowhunter Academy. Now, I'm gonna say first of all that tread carefully while I'm speaking about this book, because I might mention a couple of spoilers. I'm not gonna go like really in depth into some of the things that really did like annoy me or like I didn't agree with, but just tread carefully because I might say some things that are spoilers. Now, the first book that I read, or the first novella that I read, was a reread, and it was novella number 4, which is called Nothing But Shadows. I really did love that one. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I love that you have these characters that are introduction for the last hour. I didn't read novella number 5 just because I really didn't enjoy novella number 5. So I gave that 3 out of 5 stars. I thought that it served no purpose. But then I read number 6, and that one was Pale Kings and Princes. Now, I really did like the introduction of the fact that there was gonna have a wedding. I also liked the name of the aftermath of everything that happened in the Dark War, which now you have the Cold Peace, and I want that to be elaborated a little bit more, but obviously we might get that in Lady Midnight. I also did enjoy the introduction of the Blackthorns, and I gave that novella 4 out of 5 stars. Novella number 7 was Bitter of Tongue, and I really did enjoy that one. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. The fact that you have Mark Blackthorn being introduced, I really did love him as a character. I loved his introduction in City of Heavenly Fire, and his aftermath is something that really is affecting me, and I really can't wait to read Lady Midnight to see what happens to him, and if he does get saved, because he is so tenacious, and even though the Shadowhunters have abandoned him, he still fights for that cause, and it broke my heart, and I love to read about him. And also the wedding, I really did enjoy it, so I really did enjoy that one. Novella number 8 is one that I'm like, I gave it 4 out of 5 stars just because I really never wanted Simon to end up with Clary as a parabatai, and we get that. We know that that's going to happen. I mean, it's been shoved down our throats that not Isabel, but Simon and Clary are best friends. Yes, they're best friends. They've been for such a long time, but I would have preferred for Simon to have another parabatai and also Clary to have her own. It would have made the story like more interesting, and I don't get it. I don't like it. I mean, I get why she's doing it. In Spanish, the way we say it, me lo voy a tener que comer, so you know, I can't do anything about it. I also did love the parabatai ritual between Emma and Julian. I also know that there's something that's going to spark there, and I really can't wait to know what it is. Novella number 9 was Born to Endless Nights, and I gave that one 4 out of 5 stars. I really did enjoy the introduction of Magnus and the fact that Alec and Magnus want to adopt the baby, or they did adopt the baby, which is the warlock blue skinned baby that did appear, and I thought that was very beautiful. And the fact that you also have other characters that were brought in to this novella, I really enjoyed those aspects. And the final novella, which is Angels Twice Descending, I gave 3 out of 5 stars. I didn't enjoy it. I also don't see the purpose of it, but then again, if I would have read the synopsis of it, I would have known, because it's an obvious duh, right? But again, I hate the fact that, you know, Clary and Simon have been shoved down our throats, and this novella served no purpose, because they could have done it differently. Like, why? So we can go ah and ooh and ooh. I don't care about that. I mean, I wanted a really good novella, and I mean, I did enjoy the tribute that Simon does have towards him, but again, it really didn't serve purpose in my eyes, and I was like, why? Like, it's still a question that I'm asking myself. Just why? Like, why? The final physical book that I picked up was Milk and Honey. I really did enjoy this poetry collection. It was very lovely. There were some poems that, like you can see, I clicked with and I enjoyed. Others, there were only stanzas that I really did like. But you know, it is a very raw poetic collection, and some poems can be trigger warning for certain people because they're very, very raw, but I really did enjoy them. And like I mentioned, some I clicked with, especially, you know, some stanzas, others not, but it was very different to actually read this, and I quite enjoyed it, so I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Now moving on to the audiobooks, the first one that I picked up in audiobook format was Heartless by Marissa Mayer. Now I did read this book in physical format during January, and I wanted to hear the audiobook, so I found it, I heard it, I loved it. It was narrated by Rebecca Solar. I love the different intonations that she used for different characters, and the tones that was set out throughout the entire audiobook was something that was very, very enjoyable. And again, these characters are so tenacious, so brave, so loyal. I love Kath, I love Jess, and I still gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I love how this is a backstory to Alice in Wonderland, but it can stand on its own, and I highly suggest for you to read it in audiobook because I really haven't read one where it was this good. I mean, this one was it was amazing. I loved it and I really enjoyed it. The next audiobook that I heard was Eleanor and Park by Rainbow Rowell. I gave that one 3 out of 5 stars. I have to admit that that really wasn't my cup of tea. There were so many things that I really didn't enjoy, especially the horrible father figure. And I know for the time that it's set, because if I'm not mistaken, it's set in the 80s, but I mean, there were so many things that I was not agreeing about the mother, the things that she did, because damn it, above all others, your kids are supposed to be the one thing that you defend no matter what. It doesn't matter if you have a man in your side or not. And there were some things that I was really annoyed with. I have to admit that Eleanor, she was a very different kind of character to read about, and I have to praise it because she isn't your perfect character. You know, she has her flaws, and I really did enjoy reading from those aspects. And I did enjoy, I forgot his name. Oh, Park. I was about to say I forgot his name. But Park, I really did enjoy his points of views. There were some things that I really didn't get. Oh my god, there were so many things that I really wasn't connected with. But again, I know that these things actually happen in real life, but I don't know, I really didn't enjoy it that much in hearing it. And I also suggest for you not to hear it in audiobook because it was horrible in audiobook. And the final book that I read is This Is Where It Ends, and I gave that one 4 out of 5 stars. I really did enjoy this book, but I highly suggest for you to pick it up in audio format because you get the sense of being there. You get that connection with all the characters, and you get the dread, the terror that they're actually facing, because it is about a school shooting. And for the moment or the time that the story is actually happening, you get the right information and the right background knowledge of all these characters, which is something that I really did enjoy. You know, don't expect in 30 minutes to get the entire life story of a lot of the characters. Even though you get a lot of information, I enjoyed the information that I was given. I really did love the points of views. You have different kinds of characters, or you have a diverse cast of characters. You have Hispanic characters, you have a Muslim character, you have lesbian characters, and it's something that I really did enjoy because you get the aspects from everything. And I really did enjoy the points of views. I have to admit there were some points of views that I really didn't enjoy, but then again, we are living in a technological world, so again, I kind of understand why a lot of them were mentioned in the book. But overall, it was a very sad reading experience, but it was quite enjoyable. And I have to admit that it is trigger warning because you are going to have the mention of a rape. You are going to have a really bad father figure because he did hurt his kids, and then you also have shootings of teenagers, so it can be trigger warning for a lot of different people. But overall, it is a very pleasurable reading experience, and especially through audio format, you get that entire sense and that entire feeling. Okay, so my camera cut off, but these are all the books that I read in the month of February. If you want to tell me which are your favorites, then feel free, we'll chit chat down below. But I want to thank you for watching, and until next time, peace.